Again, I guess just to start off here this spring, we're excited to get going again. It seems like it's fairly early, but in the end, I like starting it early. I like getting a good number of practices in before we take spring break, and then stretching it out and finishing on. I guess it's April. Is it 17th or 11th is our spring game, and again, just anxious to get going and get back out on the field and working with our guys. It's a disappointing time and really hurtful time. I know everyone's heard about the accident with Corey Wilson, or if you haven't, it's just a tragic accident. We're all just praying for Corey and his family. Really difficult times, and again, just what medically what was out from his family tomorrow. I'm not going to elaborate on anything else other than what was said yesterday, other than we're all continuing to pray for him and have him in our thoughts, and his family. Getting into practice, again, I feel really positive about the team. We had a great winter. Coach Schmidt was really pleased with the overall work of our players, which always is a big indicator of what kind of team we have a chance to have, the way they work in the out of season, and what kind of attitude and toughness they have going through our winter program. And he was really overall very pleased with the progress of most all of our positions. And when you look at us defensively, there's a great number of players back, so you would expect significant improvement there. And offensively, a couple areas, we have a good number of big-time players back that everyone knows. The areas that need to continue to come on, I'm pleased. I thought our attitude with the receivers throughout the winter was fabulous, and those guys are really, but they have to come on the field and show the ability to make plays. And then an offensive line. I think, of course, losing 4 of the 5 starters from a year ago, that's where another major issue will be. And we'll see. Those guys are at this point, just everything, whether it's their work ethic, their attitude, those kind of things need to improve. They're not nearly. They haven't had the winter everybody else has had. They right now are the weak link of the team, and we'll see if they can respond and have any kind of spring and summer to help us be a team that could contend for a Big 12 championship. If again, they'll be a big part of whether we will or will not, depending on their attitude, work habits, those kind of things, and if we're going to be able to do it. So they've been very inconsistent that way, and how they work and their toughness and discipline, and so it'll be something that we'll just see as time goes, whether they can develop that kind of toughness and attitude to get it done. But again, overall, I think special teams wise, same thing. I expect us to improve. Tress Way, we'll start off with taking over for Mike Null punting, and through the year last year, I thought he did a nice job. And he's had a good winter too, along with kickoffs, field goals, all of that. We expect Jimmy to be better, but I also expect Matt Moreland and Tress Way to be better, and also we got a newcomer in Bryce Easley coming in, a Norman North guy that we're excited about as well. So I do feel that overall those positions will be improved for us, and that'll be a big plus as well. But again, just anxious to get going.
In the past, you've had a philosophy of, veteran guys like Sam Bradford and Chris Brown. You've seen how many hits they can. You know what they can do. You don't want to get them more hits. How much will veterans like that actually scrimmage and go through contract years?
Well, we'll see. Obviously, we never hit our quarterbacks, so whether Sam's in there or not, he's not going to be hit. But we do want to see the other young guys continue to develop. But I think it's important with Sam to continue to make improvement as well, and he will. Some other guys, like a Chris Brown going into his last year, I'm not interested in seeing Chris get banged around at all. In fact, offensive coaches will have to talk me into tackling him. He's played too much. DeMarco won't go through spring, and these other young guys, Moses Madu and Justin Johnson, Jeremy Calhoun, the great thing will be getting those guys a lot of snaps. And I'll be honest, I'm going to limit to some degree even how much Moses gets, because those other guys need a lot. And again, Moses has proven to be a really good player for us. But he's still young and is going to make some improvement, but we'll monitor how much they get.
Will you experiment with Moses in the slot zone?
I'm sure we will. He's a talented guy that we need to keep getting the ball to, so I'm sure he'll work out in the slot position at times.
You've got some young guys at defensive tackle like Stacy McGee and Casey Walker. Can you talk about them and also how DeMarcus Granger's doing?
DeMarcus, the surgery on him went really well. He feels great. He feels a great sense of relief from the pain that had continually bothered him. So we're optimistic that he's going to continue to heal well and will be better for it. And and DeMarcus has played a lot, so hopefully he'll continue to make improvement, but he won't go through spring. But which is good though that we really like Casey and Stacy McGee and Casey Walker, and hopefully we'll just get those guys a lot of snaps, and so they'll make good improvement and be better for it.
Would you like to see, what kind of improvements would you like to see out of your offensive linemen based on what you talked about in the winter conditions?
Well, just everything. Just coming to work every day, having a tough attitude, having some discipline to do the things you're supposed to do on the field and off. And to this point, they haven't done that. So, again, right now, they need to make improvement if we're going to be any kind of team to contend for a championship next year. If they do, we'll have a chance, a good one. If they don't, then we'll have a slim one.
Is it across the board, or are there guys who do?
Just overall. Yeah. I'm sure no, that's not fair to say across the board. No, there's some guys on there that are doing really well, but there's enough of them that need to make improvement. That to this point have been too inconsistent with it.
Is Trent standing out as a leader at all yet, or because he's the guy that's back with the experience?
I'm not going to single anybody out. It's never been my way.
Coach, last year it seemed like, from your guys' perspective, Keenan Clayton really jumped out during the winter workouts and made a big stride from the fall to the winter to the spring. Is there a guy or a couple guys that have really stood out and made a great improvement physically and just how?
Yeah, the obvious, some of the but it's a lot of their. You're saying it hasn't in the past?
Yeah.
Gosh. David King, young defensive end, had a really good winter. Stephen Good, Ben Hayburn have really had big winners and showed the kind of consistency you want. A lot of the young guys, I think the young receivers have all made good improvement. I think overall that group, being a big question mark coming into the winter, was really pleasing to see how. They've really had a good winter, so that really tells you their maturity or their want to and recognizing that, hey, maybe we're a little inexperienced here, some hard work, and we can make it up. That was exciting. Landry Jones had really had a great winter, and again, being a young guy, that's a big plus. Just his work ethic and how he went after all his workouts, really did a great job.
What have you been able to tell about Landry so far in terms of arm strength and all that?
Well, he's our typical, quarterback that we've won with here. He's very similar to nobody's ever the same, but he's similar to our style of guy. He's a bright guy. He's got an excellent arm. He just needs more time on the field, and so we're anxious to get that here this spring, and hope he's going to make his mistakes, but we really expect him to grow and make good progress with the challenge of it every day. We do so much again, we're really competing against each other. I think it's really going to help him.
Is there less of an urgency to get him time this spring, because Sam needs time on task with the new wide receiver crew?
We don't ever have a less of an urgency. We always have a great sense of urgency with every one of our guys to get them to a level that we want them to be, or to improve them.
I know you're always competing at all positions, but it seems like safety on defense is one area of emphasis, obviously losing two guys. You talk about that. It seems like Quentin Carter's a guy that fits
Absolutely.
right in there.
Quentin showed a year ago that, and to be honest with you, Quentin would have, had significantly more time had he not had some hamstring issues really that have hampered him previously, that have kind of kept him out of practice and from maybe earning a starting position. So we look at him as a part-time starter already that's returning, and a guy that's played in big games for us and played well. So we expect Quentin to keep getting better and be a major factor at safety, of course. And then we'll see from there. We'll work all of those guys. So we have a young guy, Javon Harrison, Joseph Ibaloya was redshirted a year ago, and then with some of the other guys that have played there. So we'll see.
You still feel those are interchangeable enough where maybe a Proctor could play free safety?
Sam, absolutely. I mean, Sam's a guy that last spring I was teasing him the other day. I thought, I recognized him in front of the team, that a guy that I thought made the most improvement from fall through the end of spring of anybody on the team. But then he didn't do as well in the fall for whatever reasons, and I was hoping to get a reaction from him to respond and be that kind of guy again this spring. So we'll see. Hopefully he can do that. He has played some and been on special teams, and hopefully he can definitely. Our free and strong safety are interchangeable. That to me they're the same thing. We spin one down, spin the other down. One plays high, one plays half field. They both do. There isn't. So to me, they're the same position.
Is Jonathan Nelson totally healthy? And if so, how can he help you?
Jonathan's totally healthy, and we'll see, how he competes. It gets down to competing on the field and making plays, but he's healthy and ready to go.
Before he got hurt, he was going to be your dime back, wasn't he?
Well, we hadn't set on that.
Well, your defense improved throughout the season last year. In what areas did you see the improvement? And looking at the veteran defense coming back this year, where would you like to see the most improvement?
Well, I thought I saw the improvement mostly through the year, just in responsibility, and linebackers and secondary, and just people. Again, you want to say, well, keep it simple, but you can only keep it so simple. Offenses with all of their formations and the different things that they do. I just saw us settle down and be more responsible in the middle of the year towards the end. And that just comes with more time on the field. The guys just became more comfortable with what we were asking them to do, more comfortable in their recognition of the offense. So we had fewer breakdowns, where we busted. Usually when we've given up plays in the past, it's been more mental than it has been physical. And so I just saw our guys become more and more disciplined in their responsibilities as the year went, with the added experience. And so I'd like to see that continue. I believe strongly that it will. And just continue to be more physical. That's what we're always after, and to be responsible where we don't have mental breakdowns. And, as we went through the second part of the year, for the most part, you saw that. And I thought in our last two games, they were pretty solid that way.
I know you're going to get to see a lot of them the coming month, but what's been your impression of Jeremy Calhoun up to this point?
Excited. We're really excited about Jeremy. He's a wonderful young guy. Got a great attitude and work ethic. He's had a really good winter here. So this will be a time, that we'll see. He's going to get he'll get a lot of snaps, and so we'll. This will be a big building time for him. But to this point, he's had a great attitude, great work ethic, everything you asked for. So it's been positive. And Justin's made some good strides as well. So those guys will get a significant amount of opportunities here this spring to show they're the kind of guy that we can throw in there and be the take care of the football and pick up blitzes and do the things you want them to do.
Bob, I know you've been scouting yourself and things. You plan on adding a lot of stuff in the spring, or?
We always, I wouldn't say a lot of stuff, but we're always manipulating and adjusting and looking at better ways to do things, or even limit some of what you do. So we're, that's no different than any year.
What are the players' attitudes going into this spring, or how they excited about getting spring practice started?
Yeah, like I said, I thought through the winter they've been fabulous, just their overall attitude. And I think a lot of that comes with we have so many excellent leaders. When you look at, the players, when you Sam Bradford, Jermaine Gresham, Gerald McCoy, and you got, Austin English, it goes on and on. Chris Brown, DeMarco, you got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football that are older guys that are really can set an attitude in a way we're going to do things, and they've done that. So it's great coming into the spring. Then they're anxious. It's one thing I've never ever been disappointed in how our guys have approached practice. They always are very competitive, and they may say they're not looking forward to it, but their actions show that they are. They like to play.
Was Austin English ever really healthy for you last year? I mean, the way the year
He
started.
struggled.
With the appendectomy.
He fought through a lot of things, and so overall, no. But he fought through it, and Austin never makes an excuse. But it'll be exciting to see him healed up, and eventually here be at full speed. And again, he's played a lot. I'm not concerned with him, missing spring, because I know what he can do, and it'll be exciting really to see David King, R.J. Washington getting a lot more snaps and really bring those guys along.
So he's out for the spring. Austin English is out for the entire spring.
Yeah.
Could you just gloss over? I know DeMarco, and I guess you got Box and
some of those guys. Brody may come back after spring break, but I'm gonna. If he does, I'm gonna limit him. I know what Brody can do. So some of those guys, fortunately, the ones that may be out, all of it, other than Austin, have played a lot of football. Have played an awful lot of football, and are very experienced players. So I don't think it's anything that's going to hold them back. Once they get through the summer and all the practice that we get in two-a-days, they'll be where they need to be.
Bob, could you talk about your linebacking core, especially you have 3 high school athletes that enrolled early?
Yeah, and all those guys, I tell you, the young guys that came in early, Drew Allen at quarterback, Tom Wart, Ronell Lewis, and Jaden Bird at linebacker have been wonderful, fabulous guys. Usually our other experiences in the past, there hadn't been many that could come in and really handle the winter, and it shouldn't be expected to, coming right out of high school, to handle the levels that our guys work at and the tempo we go at and all. And these guys really fought through it and were fabulous and really handled it well. And I think have really made significant gains, from it. So, they've all done great, and it's been exciting to see them do so well. And all those linebackers will have an opportunity, but I'm excited with that group. A year ago, we knew how thin we were and how tough it was going to be, but now with a good number of them back, and the other guys that have shown promise in Mike Ballaghan, we got all these 3 young guys coming in that have showed, the ability to handle the workload that we're used to. And then, J.R. Bryant as well, really made significant improvement through the year in all our special teams. So we'll give those guys a lot of snaps and bring them along.
How has Ryan Reynolds' progress been?
It's been great. He feels, he didn't have as much damage around that ligament as he did the year before. So his recovery's been a lot smoother, a lot faster. And he does feel really good right now, and that's a positive. As DeMarco's has really, coming back from what he did the year before, there's no comparison really to the injury year before to how this one, to this point he feels great, and it still has a lot of time. So whereas a year ago that was a much tougher injury to recover from.